Hey y'all, it's Kay from the Literary Apothecary, and today we're going to do the last 10 books tag. And I was tagged by Leslie at the Nerdy Narrative. I'll link her video down below. You guys got to go check it out. It is fantastic. I love Leslie to pieces. So, first question up, the last book you didn't finish. For me, this would be The Lies of Locke Lamora by Scott Lynch. I got about 10% through, and I think it was like 100 pages in, and I just couldn't follow the story. I couldn't follow the narration, the timing, anything. I had no idea what was going on, so I DNF'd it and left it at that. Next book up, the last book you reread. And for this one, I have like a couple different kinds of answers. So currently, I am actually doing 2 rereads. The first one is Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, and I am rereading that as part of a group read with some of my friends on Discord. We're doing all of Jane Austen's books, one a month for the next several months. So that is one of my current rereads, and another current reread is Dragonfly in Amber by Diana Gabaldon. This is book 2 in the Outlander series, and I am currently doing a reread of all of the Outlander books leading up to the new book, book 9, coming out in November. So look for my vlogs on that if you're interested in seeing my Outlander reread reactions. The last book I finished a reread for is book 1 in the Outlander series, Outlander, and I just finished this weekend. My reading vlog will be up for this very soon, so look for that if you're interested. And I actually enjoyed this one more on a reread than I did on the initial read, so that is an interesting tidbit. Next question asks, the last book you bought. And I actually went to the bookstore this weekend and I got 3 books. One of them being, as you've seen, The Dragonfly in Amber. I only owned the first book in the Outlander series, even though I love this series. So I'm going to be buying each one of the books as I get to them as a new book purchase. So this one I bought. I also bought The Pocket Edinburgh, which is research for my future move to Scotland for our book lounge. And then because my friend Charmaine talked about this book so much, it was stuck in my head, and when I saw it at the store, I just couldn't pass it up, and that is The Firekeeper's Daughter. I can't wait to read this. That cover is absolutely fire, and I'm really excited to read this because Charmaine absolutely loved it, so I can't wait to see what all the hype is about. Next up, the last book you said you read but you didn't. And for me, this one I'm going to change because I never say I've read books. I don't lie about books that I read. Sometimes I often sign up for way too many buddy reads, and I think I'm going to read a book when I don't have the chance to, but I never say I've actually read a book, which I haven't, unless I completely forgotten that I didn't read it and I thought I did. So for me, I'm going to talk about 2 books that I had said I was going to read but haven't gotten around to it yet. The first one up is The Red Rising by Pierce Brown, and this was a group buddy read at the Library of Alexandria's Discord. They're still making their way through this series. This is book 1 in that series, and I still haven't gotten to book 1. I think they're on book 3, 4, or 5, somewhere around there now. So eventually one day I'll catch up to them all, but this is one book that I said I was going to read but I didn't. Another book on there, if you follow my Discord, you'll know this one, is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This was supposed to be one of our buddy reads on my Discord, and I just had way too much going on that month and didn't get around to it. And a whole lot of other people on my Discord had the same problem. So I will circle back to this one eventually. I really want to read it. That cover is really cool, and I'm really excited to read it. I just haven't gotten around to reading it yet. So those are 2 books that I said I was going to read but haven't gotten to them yet. But I didn't actually lie about reading them. I just said I would read them and haven't read them yet. This question says, the last book you wrote in the margins of. And I used to do this all the time in grad school. I would underline passages, I would highlight, I would take notes for classes. I don't really do it anymore now. I just have my notebook full of quotes that I take down from my readings. So I guess like the last book I would say is one of my essay books. This is the Best American Essays from 2015, and I really love these books, but like you can see here's some underlining, and like I don't really write a lot in my books. Here, where did it go? Here is notes in the margin. That was the date that I read it on 2/28. So last book I wrote in the margins, I'd say it's one of these books, but I'm not sure. It may be after that, but that's that. The last book you had signed, I'm really excited to talk about this book because I barely hear about it on BookTube, but it's an amazing book. And now I believe an Amazon TV show. And
girl in that bulletin is wanted for the murder of a child.
And that is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I absolutely loved this book. I love this author. He came to my university that I work at, Duke, and spoke a couple years ago, and I absolutely loved hearing him talk. That was like right when this book had come out, and it's now a Pulitzer winner, which is very exciting. And I got him he signed it because he was signing all sorts of books, and I told him a story about how when I was a kid and I learned about the Underground Railroad, I thought it was an actual railroad underground, and I was so excited about the idea, and I went around playing Harriet Tubman and pretending I was part of the Underground Railroad. And so I told him this story, and he said we are railroad aficionados, and there is the signature. So the last book I had signed is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. If you haven't read this book yet, you need to go read this book because it is so fantastic and it's so profound and so beautifully written. I can't talk enough about this book, so go read it. And the last book you lost, I have no answer for this because I haven't lost any books that I know of. I've given books away, but I haven't actually lost books, so I have no answer for that. And just a couple more. The last book you had to replace. So technically I didn't have to replace this, but my Harry Potter books are getting pretty ragged and worn down, and some of the copies are like, their binding is getting so worn out that pages are starting to fall out. And this is another one I did annotations for. I underlined them all sorts of places. So these are getting pretty ragged, and now they've got these beautiful illustrated editions coming out. I think there's 4 of them out right now, and Jessie at the Bookish Mom, love you Jessie, has sent me 2 of the illustrated editions, so I'm working on replacing all of my Harry Potter books with the illustrated editions because these are just absolutely beautiful. I love them so much. So I didn't have to replace them, but I am replacing them. And then question number 9, last book you had an argument over, and I don't really fight over books. Everyone has their own opinions about books, and that's fine. You don't have to like the same books I do. I don't have to like the same books you do. So I don't really argue with people about books. Now our last question, the last book you couldn't get a hold of. And for me this one is weird, so I'm just going to mention some anticipated reads coming up for 2021. We've got The Mask of Mirrors, book number 2. We've got The Fall of Babel, which is book 4 and the final book in the Tower of the Books of Babel series, the Senlin Ascend series. And of course, Outlander number 9, Go Tell the Bees That I'm Gone, and Jade Legacy, which is the 3rd book in the Green Bone saga. Those are all some of my anticipated reads for 2021 that aren't out yet, so I haven't been able to get a hold of them yet. I am super excited for them though. So that is the 10 last books, the last 10 books tag. Thank you, Leslie, for tagging me. This was so much fun to try to think of answers for. And tag your it. I tag Sharon at Sharon Dwyer. I tag Evie at She Was Only Evie, Vish at Books with V, and Jessie the Bookish Mom. You guys are all tagged. Feel free to do this or not. If you see this and you want to do it, consider yourself tagged too. That's it for now. As always, my Patreon and Discord information will be in the link in the description below. Keep reading, and I love you all to the moon and back. Bye.